So how did a dealership do me wrong one too many times? Co-star in the Porch Panther. So, CarGirl CJ here, and everybody knows Porch Panther. So, please do not make biscuits on my gobbler. Please. So, those who are wondering, what made CarGirl CJ get into the TikTok world? What made me get away from the dealership? What happened to make all that go awry? Well, I'm going to tell you the story. I know it's been a while since you've seen me here on this particular platform. Well, that's because I've just now figured out how to actually get the videos together and edit them on my phone instead of having to go to a different editing software. So bear with me with the quality of sound and video. Anyhow, so how did this end up happening? Well, first you got to know, I started in the car business when I was only 18 years old. So just like most do, I started brand freaking new. They know within the first 30 days if you're going to be able to make it in this business or not. And they immediately knew that I was going to be A-OK. I was a little bit of a chameleon. I could sell wood to a tree. And of course they wanted to move that up into management because I could close a lot of individuals that weren't able to be closed. And what that means is I was able to get a yes out of them. If only because of my charisma. They wanted to move me up into management, which they did. Well, here's the thing, shit rolls downhill. So let's pretend my dealership, who I'm not going to name, just happened to be notorious for rolling over management left and freaking right. Okay? Left and right. Being the internet manager for a little bit, and all of a sudden, once again, they got rid of our general manager. They were notorious for this. They did it all the time. If your dealership ain't selling, get rid of the general manager. Shit rolls downhill. Well, then the general manager comes in and he gets rid of the whole management team and brings in his dudes from his last dealership. But I made it through the first round, and the second round they said, get rid of her. Well, I, of course, followed my last general manager who had actually put me in that position. So I called him up. I said, hey, where you at? You got to understand that turnover in the car business is very common. I, however, had not jumped from dealership to dealership. I had only ever worked at that one dealership my entire career. And this is when I was 23. Don't quote me on that. I had to go back and look at the years. Anyway, I had been there for a long while. Everybody knew me. I was a top producer. Everything was great. I did go through a stealthy patch where I could not sell shit to a toilet. I was really struggling. I was struggling up here. This is what it's all about. If you're struggling up here, you can't sell shit. I call up my last general manager and say, hey, where you at? Here I come. And I was like, look, I'll come work for you, but I'm not going back into sales. And he said, fine. Tell you what, you come in here, prove to them what you can do, and we will make you the internet manager. Sales managers are notorious for what they call dangling the carrot, right? So there's something you want. There's something that was promised to you. They put it right out here and say, come on, come sell some cars, make me some money, and we'll get you there. So I show up. I kick every man's ass in the first 2 weeks of being there. This was not a high-producing dealership. It was not a volume dealership, or it was not a gross dealership. They were a volume dealership. They weren't a big producer. I think the biggest, baddest salesman had like fucking 6 car deals up on the board. And that was up for a fucking month, y'all. A month. That is not enough cars. No, it was bad. It was bad. I come in there and I rocked their ass. I did like 4 car deals in a matter of 7 days. Which in a high producing dealership ain't shit. But this dealership where there was no internet department. And when a majority of business comes from you going online and tippity-tapping into the computer and bada bing, bada boom, you put in a lead and then a dealership calls you, right? Whoever has that car. Well, when I got there, there was no internet department. So there was nobody answering those leads. There was nobody producing any sales. Everything that I sold in that first week was from cold calling. The old-fashioned way where you go to the service department, get service records, and get on the fucking phone. Okay, and everybody hates cold calling. So yes, I was that asshole on the phone that was telling you, we really need your car. I already got it sold to somebody. Bring it up here. Raw-da-dee-da-da-dee-da. So I was kicking all these dudes' asses, right? And boy, let me tell you, they was making an example out of me too. Every sales meeting, you're going to let her come in here and do what we've been telling y'all to do because y'all are lazy, you ain't shit, you ain't ever going to be shit, and you're going to let her come in here and outsell every single one of you. My track record already proved myself, for one. For two, you took me and you put me in here beside these guys, right? So here we are. Here's me, here's them. You put me beside them. Guess what that means? If you ever do move me up, if you ever do put me in that office right there, there's not going to be anything but shit coming from this fucking sales floor. Because they watched me sell beside them. If you don't bring me in as a manager, they're never going to respect me as a manager. It does not matter. I call it the dick syndrome. Because if I am an equal to you and then I get moved up, I ain't ever going to be nothing but a fucking equal that stepped on your head to get there. Even though you don't have the fucking qualifications to run an internet department or work on an internet department, you ain't ever going to be shit. And that's what they set me up for. No matter how long I was there or how many cars I sold. So, they sat around for a couple months. I got super, super sick. And I got to dicking off. But I got sick and I was in the hospital during that time of me working there. I had double pneumonia. I was very, very sick. My asthma was complicated by the pneumonia. It was a mess. And I was out for a couple weeks. Next thing I know, I get a phone call from the platform director of the joint that let me go. The dealership I'd worked at for a long ass time. I had gotten a phone call from him saying, come back. We'll give it back to you, give you a better pay plan. Come back and be our internet manager. Went to my boss and I said, look, bro, I've been sitting on my hands down here. I was promised something. Y'all still ain't gave it to me. I've put sales up on the board. I did my job. You ain't done yours. I'm bailing. I'm out. And so naturally, what do? Here's you an office. Be the internet manager. Build this department. Put the deals together. Get the people in here. Do all the things you were supposed to do. Okay, give me a pay plan. Let me have a pay plan. Fucking crickets. Well, we don't have a pay plan sorted out for you yet. Well, you want to know something those dudes down the road do? And so I gave them 3 days, 4 days, I think. I said, I need a pay plan. I don't know. What am I getting paid right now? A salesman's pay? Because I ain't going to be doing all this fucking work for a draw against commission. You got me fucked up. Anyway, they never would give me a pay plan. And so I towed my ass back down to where I came from. I was sick of making that drive anyhow. So, went back down there. Fast forward, in true this dealership fashion, they overhauled the general manager's office. He did not like me. And I knew it was coming, but I was still bringing in money, so it was okay. And then COVID happened. So this is 2020. I gotta count, hang on. I am 24 at this time, fixing to turn 25. COVID happens. I make it through the first round of firings, or laying off. I made it through. He tells me he is dissolving my position. So I didn't bawl and scrawl and cry like I did the first time, freaking out, how am I going to make money? I had just bought a house. April of 2020, I bought this house. I was scared. He tells me, you can go back into sales if you'd like. We'll have you as a salesperson. Absolutely not. No. For 2 reasons. Number 1, fuck you, bro. Number 2, I ain't taking a fucking draw against commission when I'm getting currently getting a fucking flat plus commission. You can kiss my ass. I mean, I'd be making 1/4 the money. I ain't doing that. I asked him, I'm like, I'm not going to do that, but what's my other option? And he said, go file for unemployment. So I did that. And I got unemployment. And just like everybody else in 2020 that didn't know where the car business was going, didn't know where anything was going, I stayed on unemployment for a little bit, for a couple months. 5 months later, I've already started, starting to get my stuff in order here and blah, blah, blah. I had started telling stories on TikTok, but I wasn't talking about car business stuff. I was still looking for a job in a dealership at this time. They went back to the unemployment office and said, we didn't lay her off. She was generally discharged. Means that I'm not eligible for unemployment. After he told me to go file for unemployment. So there's a lot of us in the unemployment line. And I walked in there to get something straightened out one day, and they tell me that this place has said that I don't qualify for unemployment. And I was big mad. Not little mad, big mad. So what did I do when I left there? Take my ass over there. I hit record on my phone. I go up to that GM and I said, Mr. Sir, you remember when you told me to go file for unemployment? Well, yeah, I do. Why? Well, here we are. Here we are 5 months later, and they're telling me that y'all have went back on that and you ain't paying for my unemployment, and now they want money back from me. Can you believe that? They wouldn't do that. And he's like, no, that shouldn't be the case. We were blah, 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 blah. He's all cordial. And then I think about that time he started realizing I was recording. So he sends me to the office to the old girl down there and try to get this shit sorted out, right? And he comes in there and he's like, wait a minute, CJ. You were offered a sales position, weren't you? So that would be a general discharge. And I said, Mr. Sir, you know as well as I do that that would be 1/4. I would be making 1/4 the money. I don't have to accept a position going down when I could go out and get one that would be a lateral move. You know that and I know that. So did you or did you not tell me to go file for unemployment? And I did just that. He said, yes, I did, but that was after you were offered a position. And I said, Swear to God, I'm fighting, but I left the dealership that day mad. Already fucked me when I bought this house. You waited till 20 days after I closed on this motherfucker to do this. What'd you do? Wait for your PPP loans to be forgiven? And then you decided everybody you had laid off was not really a layoff. You didn't dissolve my position because that's what this sheet of paper says. So which one is it? Is it dissolving my position, or is it this box up here that says general discharge? So which one is it? Because this don't say nothing about a sales position. So I had to fight it. And so there was like this thing looming over me for a long time of, am I going to have to pay this money back? I ain't got a whole bunch, y'all. I truly don't. I have fucking prepaid electric that is below the $20 line right now. And whenever it hits zero, these lights will go off, and they will be off until I put money on there. But that day when I left the dealership, I took to TikTok crying. Like, I need a lawyer. I need help. What does this mean? What records do I need? I needed help. I mean, this was so far beyond my scope of what I knew to do or how to do, or anything in between. So I needed help. That TikTok kind of went viral, because very, very mini viral. Maybe 40,000 views, but at the time I only had 100 followers, so that was a lot. And I was reading these comments, and of course I was getting a lot of hate comments about unemployment. And those were really fucking with me. This is back before I knew, the ones that are worth the shit on TikTok are tenfold better than those fuckers that just want to run their head. One guy asked, CJ, what'd you expect? It was a car dealership. Made a video to that comment and said, you know what? You're damn right. It is a car dealership. And you know what? There's a whole bunch of secrets y'all don't fucking know. Ain't nobody taught you. So if y'all want me to, I'll make some of them videos. And that was in, I think it was like August, September of 2020. Because I hadn't started my consulting business. I was just telling the stories. I wasn't thinking too much about where it was going. And you want to know how you can tell that? Because if I'd have known where this was going to end up, I definitely would have picked a different name for my TikTok name. But I didn't know where this was headed. I had always been the person that you called when you wanted to go buy a car. Because I love arguing with them. I mean, buying a car can and is fun when you know what the fuck you're doing. And the thing I knew, I was like, what would y'all think if somebody was a car consultant? What would you think of that? And people were just fucking over the moon with that idea. They were like, I would absolutely pay somebody to do that. And I just kept telling the stuff that people needed to know, and it just kept growing and growing and growing and growing. And now here we are with one account fixing to hit 2 million and a whole ass backup account that's just CJ shit fixing to be at 1.3. And they're two completely separate audiences. This has afforded me more. That one fuck up from that dealership and me and my jaded ass has afforded me more than I could ever imagine. And I remember back when I first started this, somebody got on the phone, they were mad, right? It was one of these dudes I used to work with. And they didn't like what I was doing, naturally. And I used to care. Can you believe that? But he says, CJ, disruptors never make anything of themselves. You're never going to be anything being a disruptor. You're not going to disrupt a whole business model that has been in works for years. You're never going to make a dent. You're never going to matter. You don't matter how many people you tell. It is never going to matter. You're never going to stop them from making money. You're never going to stop profit from happening. He was so wrong. He was so wrong. And I did some rough calculations. I know I ain't by any means under the impression I'm stopping all the profit in the dealership. Fuck no. No, I know about dealer holdback. I know about, the profit in the trade and the profit in the car and the profit in the finance office and the warranties that they keep sneaking into car deals. I know about all that shit. I ain't stopping it all. But I'm stopping enough for a grand total of all the people that I've helped. I've saved well over $1 million. Well over it in the 2.5 years I've been doing this now. 3 years. Holy shit, 3 years? We've saved a lot of fucking money. Why? Because somebody knew what to look for. That's it. That's all it was. They're mad because I'm out here doing it. They're mad because they didn't think of it. Nobody ever anticipated little old CJ making anything of herself. You're wondering, did I ever win the unemployment situation from the dealership? Fast forward another 5 months. I wrote pages and pages and pages of information letting them know I have this recording. He said this. He said that. I can send you the recording. Let me know where you want this recording sent to. But see, you have to fax all this paperwork in. There is no magical send a recording in or anything like that. That ain't how that works. And then you got to wait for the judicial something board to go through your case. And it takes a long ass time. But 5 months later, I got sent a letter in the mail. And I fucking won. They lost. And I won. And by this time, I had already started this and had it rolling. And I remember making a video about it, reading that letter. And the OG people were the only ones that knew what I was talking about. But I sure as fuck won. Just this is a little bit of a side note for all the dealerships out there that think I'm just trying to ruin their lives. No, I ain't trying to stop all your profit. If you build value in a product and you sell something and you sell it because there's just so much value, you convince somebody to buy a product because there's just so much value built behind it. That I can get behind. I'll let you do that all damn day. If you are hipping with it on the sales, baby, there is nobody that can come along and tell them otherwise if you sold them. Not me. Not Joe Blow down the road. Not the dude next door. They can't convince them. Because you just built that much value in the product. If you're using fraud, if you're sneaking things into deals, if you're telling somebody something is state mandated, when you know damn well it's a fake ass line item you made up, that ain't sales, baby. That's fraud. And that is what I'm disrupting. I ain't disrupting the car business. I'm disrupting the fraud in the car business. That is what I'm fighting. And I ain't out there in every dealership fighting it, no. I'm talking to them who now has the shit in their brain that'll pop up a little red flag that says, that just don't sound right to me. But with all that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hope you kind of gave you some insight as to how CarGirl became CarGirl. If you need me, hop down in the description box to get my email. If you need help actively on a car deal, I'd be happy to help you. I have got a bunch of things in the works. I'll also put my TikTokies down below. If you need me, you know where I'm at. Other than that, I've got to get this fucking makeup off my face because it itches something terrible. But I love y'all.